Hey, raise your hand if you'd like a palate cleanser. Better yet, hit the thumbs up button if you'd like a positive, non-drama related video talking about what I still love about Magic the Gathering. With all the negativity and all the criticisms, it's easy to get the idea that I simply hate the game, but you would be dead wrong. If I just hated the game, I would have left long ago. I don't need to make YouTube videos about Magic the Gathering cards. In fact, I have another channel where I bitch about stuff that is far larger. I stay because I love the community. I love the game. And not being able to play at DCI sanctioned events doesn't limit my ability to enjoy the game. So I thought I would put together 4 or 5 things that I still really like. And then this really isn't in any particular order, and I'd love to hear your lists in the comment section down below. Maybe it's one long thing, maybe it's a top 5, maybe it's a top 10. Let's all boost the positivity up today. I'm going to try to be patty positive for the rest of this week, hopefully. And let's see where that takes us. So the first thing I want to talk about, it's probably the longest imprinted memory. The longest thing I can always remember, the thing that always takes me back. It's that new card smell. It's something small, but coming from a pack cracking addict, it's an endorphin enhancer. It makes me feel good. It's part of the reason I like drafting so much, which is another thing I really like. Why do I like drafting so much? I don't know. I like to have little stakes. I like to have a little prize on the line. I like to compete. I like the idea of basically everyone's on the same skill set, the same level playing field with the packs that we open. Sure, you can open a bomb or two. You can get very lucky. But with draft, you can win with a deck full of commons. It's not about who has the most bombs. It's about the synergies that you build the deck with, following the strategies, reading the signals that are coming from your left, coming from your right. What cards are getting passed to you? What does it mean? Taking your best bet. What is going to be available in pack 3? And then feeling that payoff. Seeing that sick red rare on the 4th pick because you knew that your opponents to your right weren't drafting red. That feels good. Nothing feels better than a plan coming together. And that leads to another thing I really love. Just cracking packs. I'm a normie in that way. I know a lot of you will always suggest, like, don't open packs unless you're drafting. Buy singles. That's just not who I am. I've always been a pack cracker. I've always been a collector. And it's the thrill of the hunt. It's that adrenaline rush when you crack that chase rare, or that foil planeswalker, or a foil mythic. There's really nothing like it. It's the reason Magic the Gathering is as successful as it is. The community of pack crackers are the ones that support the game. Yes, people who buy singles are important too, because they create the secondary market for those of us that love to crack packs, but I'm still that guy that has bought single packs at Walmart and cracked them in the middle of the night. I've bought back in the day, before I knew that it was screwing over local game stores. I used to buy single packs of Kamigawa at Walmart and just like on my lunch break, crack them open. When I didn't have a lot of extra money, I would write a check for like $10 over at the cashier so I could buy Magic cards. Not a great decision looking back, but I've grown a lot fiscally since then. Just something about the sound of, you know, just that. It just really is, it's great. Another thing I really love is just how timeless the game is. On my desk, literally right now, actually one on the floor, I have a starter deck of revised and booster packs of the absolute latest Magic set, which isn't even out yet right now. That's what I love. You can go back and you can look through the cards from 25 years ago, and you can travel through time and take your memories with you. I remember what it was like to have scarcity with Magic packs. Most of you youngins now have no idea that there was a time where it wasn't about how many packs you could buy or how cheap you could get a booster box. It was about whether or not you could even get it. I remember my local game store had a limit on the packs that you could buy per day, one per customer per day, because people would just come in and buy the whole box, and it would let customers down. Now, you can get them anywhere. You can get them at your oil change store. You could get them, you can get Magic cards freaking anywhere. But back then, that wasn't the case. We used to go to these crazy things called bookstores. Little Professor books in the Paradise Mall in West Bend. They randomly would have starter decks. Shopko randomly would have starter decks in there or booster packs. The card shop, they would be in, they would be out. You would have to check. There were times I would ride my bike all the way into town hoping that they even had Magic cards in stock. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine that even nowadays? Like, going to your local game store and not seeing like the last 6 sets in full stock ready to go is almost a crazy thing to think about. But there was a time when you would show up for Revise and you had to buy Fallen Empire, or you had to buy Unlimited because it was all they had. And I like to think about those days. I like to reminisce what it was like original Return of Ravnica Block when I really got back into the game hardcore. Or when I started out back in Ice Age, Fallen Empires, Revised, Unlimited, thinking about the type of decks that I built over time, thinking about how Burn as a deck archetype has just changed over the years. It's just fun to think back, looking at products like Battle Royale hanging out back there, my Fat Pack Through Time series. It was about the journey, about remembering a different time, remembering what was going on in my life. During the Modern Masters stuff, this, card stock, and, I had bought my first home, and, the YouTube channel was just taking off. Revised, I was like in middle school or late elementary or middle school. And I remember playing tournaments at a place called the Teen Center. It's just the timelessness of it is what I love. And also one thing I really love is the versatility. There are so many ways to enjoy Magic the Gathering, whether you play EDH or you play casual, kitchen tabletop, you play competitively. Maybe you just collect the cards. Maybe you just like the art. Maybe you collect the art books and you enjoy that. Maybe you're a lore head and you love the lore of Magic the Gathering. That's also a really unsung reason for Magic's longevity, is that there's just so many things, so many different ways to enjoy the game. There are many times I got burned out playing Constructed, but I would still buy the cards because I liked to collect them. I got into trading. Nowadays, it's different. Back when I loved trading was like when you you didn't have TCGplayer.com. You had to actively seek out trades to get the cards that you wanted. Now it's a little less exciting, but there's just so many different ways to enjoy the game, whether you're like a pre-releaser, you're a collector, you're a historian, you're a finance person, you are an EDH deck blinger. All these different ways are just why the game has lasted 25 years and why it will, I'm sure, last another 25 years. Now, will it be in the same state it is now? No. Times are changing. But the one thing that's never changed, and that's always been the reason that I've stuck behind and stayed with this YouTube channel covering Magic, is the community. And that means both the parts I like and the parts I don't like. It keeps it interesting. Watching people, things change and different parts of the game, it keeps it relevant. It keeps it top of mind. I've made so many friends through this channel using the medium or the avenue or whatever of Magic the Gathering. And so many of you, I've seen you commenting on the videos over the years, and we talk in Twitter DMs or we meet up and hang out in real life. It's really, really hard to reproduce that with anything else, like video games, for example. You don't see real life friendships often getting forged over video games. I mean, it probably does happen here and there, but when the community rises up to help each other out, whether somebody needs money for a medical expense because they made poor decisions in their life, or a local game store were robbed. I remember when I was covering local game store robberies, the community coming together and analyzing security footage and working together to do that kind of stuff. Yes, other communities exist. You know, it's like the rifle saying, there are many communities out there, but this community is mine. It is unique. You know, that's how I feel about the Magic the Gathering community. And whether you're a lover of the content or you're a hater, you're still a part of the community. And I value you for that. And that's really why I stay, and why I'm optimistic that there'll be a day. I really do believe there'll be a day sometime when I get to go and play pre-release again, and I'm not so angry about all the bad decisions that Wizards is making, because there's been times over the 25 years that they've made bad decisions, and then they correct them. And I'm hoping that these past 4 or 5 years will just be a blip on the radar in a long, ever-evolving, fun Magic the Gathering game that will last as long as we're here for it. It's been there for me in a lot of different ways. When I was young, I didn't have a lot of stuff to do. I didn't have a ton of friends, but I always had my cards. You know, I would sort my cards, or I'd build new archetype decks, I would sort them by color, and then I would sort them alphabetically, and I would put them in those Ultra Pro pages. I used to do it with my commons and uncommons because I didn't have too many cards. Like, the idea of all these 5K boxes I have laying around was just, I mean, young me would think I'm an idiot for having all these 5K boxes full of cards and not having them made into individual different decks, different wacky decks, mill decks, and casual decks, things like that. But you know, I do appreciate all of you sticking with me and enjoying the content. And I want you to really, if you made it to the end of this video, like, I really genuinely I'm optimistic for the Magic game and the community. And I'm hoping that one day things will start to heal and everyone can stop worrying about dividing each other, and we can just get together and band together, because Magic is going to need it. It's not headed in a good direction right now. Instead of infighting, working together to fix it would be a nice change.